Super Mario 64 was one of the very first times I stepped into a 3D world. And honestly, it completely blew my mind. Because up until that point, games just felt mostly flat for me. They were 2D, you moved left to right, you completed a level, and that was really it. But then I popped in this game, and suddenly I'm running in circles, I'm moving the camera around, I can look up, down, and all around, I'm climbing trees, I'm diving and swimming underwater, and you can look up at an actual sky. I know this seems really simple, but it was amazing at the time. It felt like a real world instead of just levels you were progressing through. And as a kid, for me, again, that felt massive. And I think Peach's Castle captured that magic perfectly. And I'm not just talking about the levels, I'm talking about the castle itself. All throughout the castle, you had paintings you could jump into. You had locked doors that you had to unlock. Hidden secrets were scattered everywhere. The random little side room with a window you could jump through, and then all of a sudden you're in a sliding level. Looking up in the ceiling, and all of a sudden you're in a flying stage in the clouds. There were puzzles layered all throughout the castle. A hidden courtyard in the back of the castle where a Big Boo would drop a little cage that transported you into a mysterious ghost world. And one of the most memorable for me is the endless stairs. Pretty creepy. Again, it felt like things were hidden everywhere here. And what that did is it really encouraged you to explore everything, every little corner of this game. So of course at some point when I was just walking around the outside of the front of the castle, I look up at the roof. And I think to myself, can I get up there? I start exploring a bunch of ways. I noticed this cannon in the ground, locked behind this gate. So I kind of know that has to be the way to get up there. But I always wondered if there was another way. Maybe a secret way, a ladder, a jump, a climb up somewhere. And if you played this game as a kid, you probably had the same thought. So today I wanted to go back and relive that a little bit. To go back and explore one of the random little areas that always fascinated me as a kid. The roof of Peach's Castle. Let's get into it. As soon as I drop back into this courtyard, nostalgia hits me immediately. The water sounds, the atmosphere, the butterflies, the birds chirping. If there's any one area in any game that takes me straight back to being a kid, this is it. But back to the roof. Back in the day, I heard all sorts of rumors from my friends and family members. Beat the game, get all the stars. That actually turns out to be true, and we'll definitely get into that later. But I also remember reading a magazine that told me there's a way to jump up on the right side of the castle to get onto the roof. So I wanted to try the fun way first. To pull this off, you have to line up in this corner right here, hit a triple jump perfectly, slide down a bit, and then jump off the wall and just barely grab the castle wall to pull yourself up. It sounds simple, but I promise you, it's not. I tried this again and again and really just questioning what the heck I'm doing with my life. Sometimes I'd miss the jump, the camera would mess me up, the controls were a little bit wonky. I always forget about that until I start playing it again. Whoa. Sometimes I got so close enough and it would always mess up and I'd slide down on my belly. After about 20 minutes of failing over and over again, I'm just sitting there staring at the butterflies, questioning my life decisions. Why am I doing this? Yeah. But eventually I get it. I actually kind of surprised myself when I did it. And then I'm up there. And immediately it feels like you're not supposed to be there. This whole side of the castle is missing. There are other parts of the castle that aren't fully solid that you just literally could walk through. And again, you could see through parts of the sections. And you could see this waterfall coming down directly through the castle. As you walk along it, it really feels like you're not supposed to be here. I even slide up and down and you're hitting this invisible wall. Kind of weird, but also at the same time, really fun to be back up here. And then there are just 3 extra lives sitting here. Kind of a random number. Why 3, I have no idea. And there's a red box that gives you the wing cap. So that tells you obviously there's definitely a legitimate way to get up here other than this way. But honestly, I just kind of stood here for a little bit, looking down at the courtyard, staring at the water and the waterfall and the area that I always remember from being a kid. Feels a little wrong, but I don't know, it's hard to describe what the feeling was like after all these years. But it felt a little bit important. and it felt like I finally answered a question and gave me some closure that I had from when I was a kid. I finally find out that there was a secret way to get up there after all, even if it wasn't legitimate. But that's not the way the game intends you to do it. The real way to do this is to get all 120 stars, and that's not exactly a small feat. As a kid, I actually never pulled this off, sadly. It's a grind. All the levels, all the hidden stars. There are some stars that are pretty difficult to get. Let me know in the comments if you did this back in the day, because it's impressive. But I decided to go back and do it and get all 120 stars to unlock the cannon in the courtyard. And when I climbed in and aimed at the roof and fired, it felt a little bit of a surreal feeling. I'm not sneaking up there or glitching my way up there. I actually earned it. And waiting up there when you actually have the 120 stars is Yoshi, just casually standing there. He gives you 100 lives, which I always kind of found kind of pointless at this stage of the game, but still feels kind of cool. A little bit of an accomplishment. And for years, I had no idea Yoshi was even up here. It felt like some kind of myth. Even now, seeing him, it still feels, again, pretty surreal, and I almost don't believe it. Feels like I'm playing some ROM hack or something. You can't ride him, he's not playable. He just jumps into a little dialogue, gives you the 100 lives, and then walks away. But seeing him here and finally beating the game, it felt like some closure again from my childhood. Getting back up on this roof in 2 different ways gave me 2 completely different emotions. One was breaking and glitching the game and sneaking my way up. The other one was finally finishing it. And it kind of hit me emotionally. Again, it's hard to describe. I think you had to live through it and be playing these games during this era to really understand the feeling that I'm talking about. But coming back to it all these years definitely made me feel like a kid again. And looking back, I don't know why I was so fascinated with that roof. But I think it's because the castle in this game kind of trained us to explore things and find secret areas. Jumping into these paintings, unlocking the doors, finding the keys, solving the puzzles, discovering hidden stars and all the mechanics throughout the game. It constantly made you believe that there was something else out there and that you should go and find it. So when you'd find these areas and do something as simple as looking up to a roof, it felt to you like uncharted territory. I also didn't have a ton of games back then, so I really got the most out of all the games I played and just made up my own mini games, like trying to get on top of a roof. And looking back now, I understand the boundaries of games. I know there's hardware limits, I know there's invisible walls, and these levels are really just set pieces for a game. But back then, these small little games felt enormous. And I never really find myself trying to get onto a random rooftop in a modern game anymore. So I know that there was something magical about this era. Back then, I made up my own challenges. I tried to explore every inch of the map and try to get everything I could out of these games. And that's why I'm still fascinated by these old game spaces. Again, maybe it's just me being weird or overly sentimental about games, but maybe some of you out there feel the same way that I do. And of course, there wasn't just the roof. There were tons of hidden things throughout this game. One thing in particular that always fascinated me a ton was that blurry little statue in the back of the courtyard. I always tried to make out what it said, but the text was kind of blurry. Most people said that it read, "L is real." And I always thought to myself, if Yoshi was hiding on the roof, could Luigi be out there hiding somewhere too? But that's a hidden save for another day. This is Hidden Saves, a channel about unlocking old memories and figuring out why some games just stuck with us. If this one unlocks something for you, feel free to hit subscribe or drop a comment, and let me know what forgotten memory we should dig up next. Catch you in the next one.